My name is Julius, and I've spent my whole life chasing the rhythm of the waves. Born in a small coastal town where the river meets the sea, I grew up with salt in my veins and calluses on my hands from hauling nets since I was a boy. Fishing wasn't just a job, it was my escape, my purpose. Every dawn, I'd push my old wooden boat into the current, the engine sputtering like an old friend waking up. The river knew me, or so I thought. It fed me, challenged me, and sometimes, it whispered secrets in the rush of water against the hull. But on that fateful morning, everything changed. An accident that ripped my world apart and stitched it back in ways I could never have imagined. The sky was still bruised with night when I set out. Stars flickered above like distant lures, and the air carried the sharp tang of impending rain. I'd been fishing these waters for 20 years, ever since my father passed the boat down to me before he lost his battle with the bottle. He taught me to read the river's moods, the eddies that hid trophy catches, the shallows where danger lurked beneath deceptive calm. That day, I was after the big ones, the silver-scaled giants that migrated upriver this time of year. My cooler was empty, my lines baited, and my mind focused on the haul that could pay off the mounting debts from a lean season. As I steered downstream, the boat cut through the mist like a knife. The engine hummed steadily, and I sipped black coffee from a thermos, feeling the warmth chase away the chill. My thoughts drifted to Elena, the woman I'd loved and lost 2 years back. She left because the sea took too much of me, she said. You're married to that river, Julius, her parting words echoed. Maybe she was right. But out here, alone with the water, I felt alive. No complications, no heartaches, just me and the fight for survival. Then it happened. A sudden jolt, like the world had shifted under me. I must have misjudged the bend. The river was swollen from recent storms, hiding rocks that usually jutted out like warnings. My boat slammed into something solid, the impact throwing me forward. Wood splintered with a crack that echoed across the water. Water rushed in, cold and unforgiving, swallowing the deck in seconds. I grabbed for the rail, but the current was too strong. Panic surged as the boat tilted, pitching me into the abyss. The river claimed me whole. I plunged down, the world above vanishing in a blur of bubbles and darkness. My lungs burned as I fought to surface, but the undertow dragged me deeper. 15,000 meters. It felt like eternity. My mind raced, images of my empty home, unpaid bills, the faces of friends who'd never know what happened. No one had seen me leave, I always went solo. As blackness closed in, I thought, this is it. The end of Julius, the fisherman who danced too close to the edge. But death didn't come. Instead, I awoke to a world that shouldn't exist. My eyes fluttered open to dim, ethereal lights filtering through water that wasn't quite water. I was lying on a bed of soft, glowing kelp, my body aching but alive. How? I patted myself down, bruises, a gash on my arm, but breathing. Breathing underwater. No, this wasn't right. I inhaled, and it felt normal. Like air, but heavier, laced with salt and something floral. That's when I saw them. 2 figures hovering nearby, their forms graceful and otherworldly. Women, but not like any I'd known. From the waist up, they were stunning, long hair flowing like liquid silk, skin shimmering with iridescent scales, eyes wide and luminous like deep-sea jewels. Below, tails instead of legs, powerful and finned, propelling them through the currents with effortless swirls. Mermaids. The word hit me like a wave, but my mind screamed to stay calm. Freak out, and I'd be done. I lay still, pretending to sleep, assessing. They whispered in a melodic language, gestures urgent. One had hair like midnight waves, her features sharp and commanding, let's call her Mira, though I didn't know names yet. The other, with golden strands and softer eyes, seemed kinder, more curious, Sarah, perhaps. They glanced around nervously, as if hiding a secret. Me? They must have found my body drifting down and brought me here, stashing me in this hidden cavern away from prying eyes. Why? And where was it here? My hand brushed my pocket, and relief flooded me. My iPhone, water-resistant, a gift from Alena before she left. It was still on, battery at 80%. No signal, but I discreetly pulled it out, shielding the screen. Google Maps. My heart pounded as it loaded. Somehow, a glitch or miracle, it pinpointed me. Same country, same river. But below it, impossibly deep. 15,000 meters. That couldn't be, the river wasn't that profound. Yet here I was, in a kingdom that defied logic. The cavern was alive with bioluminescent flora, casting a soft blue glow. Coral walls twisted into arches, and schools of tiny fish darted like living confetti. Beyond, I glimpsed grander structures, spires of pearl and shell, a city pulsing with hidden life. But no others in sight. Just me, the only one with legs, a stranger in a world of tales. Mira approached, her tail flicking warily. "You're awake," she said in perfect English, her voice like echoing chimes. "How?" "Some magic." I nodded slowly, sitting up. "Who are you? Where am I?" Sarah swam closer, her eyes wide. "We found you sinking. You shouldn't be alive. Humans don't survive the depths." "Humans?" So they knew of us. I swallowed hard. "I'm Julius. Fisherman. Accident on the river." Myra's gaze hardened. "The surface word. Forbidden. If the queen finds out." "Queen?" So there was a hierarchy. A community. And I was contraband. They explained in hushed tones, this was Aqualan, the hidden realm beneath the river, veiled by ancient enchantments. Mermaids, merfolk, they called themselves, had dwelled here for millennia, isolated from the walkers above. Males were rare, born with tails like the females, but none with legs. I was an anomaly, a threat. The two had spotted me during a patrol, defying orders to leave surface debris alone. Curiosity, or compassion, drove them to save me, hiding me in this forgotten grotto. "Why help me?" I asked, suspicion creeping in. Sarah glanced at Mira. "Because, we've heard stories. Of your world. Change. Freedom." Mira cut her off. "Enough. We need to decide what to do with him." Their incentives clashed visibly. Sarah seemed driven by wonder, a thirst for the unknown. Mira, by duty, perhaps fear of repercussions. Me. Survival. Get home, or adapt. But as we talked, a noise echoed, distant voices. "Guards." "Ah." Sarah urged, pushing me behind a kelp curtain. My heart raced. If discovered, what then? Execution. Enslavement. As the voices faded, I realized this was no dream. The accident had thrust me into a struggle for identity, loyalty, and power. But deeper currents stirred, betrayals waiting to surface. I spent the next hours learning their ways. Sarah taught me to breathe the enchanted water, a gift from their magic that sustained me. Mira scouted for food, glowing fruits and tender seaweeds that tasted like heaven after my ordeal. My phone became my lifeline. I snapped discreet photos, noted details. Battery dwindling, but useful. Yet tension built. Mira confided the queen, Tolosa, ruled with iron fins, enforcing isolation to protect from human greed. Legends spoke of past wars, where walkers plundered their treasures, pearls that granted wishes, corals that healed. My presence could spark chaos. The guards burst into the cavern like a storm surge, their tridents gleaming in the bioluminescent light. 6 of them, armored in scales forged from abalone shells, ice cold and searching. Mira shoved me deeper behind the kelp curtain while Sarah swam forward, her voice steady despite the tremor in her tail. We heard a disturbance. The lead guard backed, a broad-shouldered woman with scars across her fins. "Report." "A rogue eel," Mira answered quickly, stepping beside Sarah. "We drove it off. Nothing more." The guard's gaze swept the space, lingering on the blood trail from my wound. My heart hammered so loud I feared they'd hear it. I clutched my phone, screen dimmed, thumb hovering over the power button. One wrong move and the glow would give me away. Sarah added softly, "It fled toward the outer trenches." We were about to report. A long silence. Then the leader nodded. "See that you do. The Queen has doubled patrols. Surface intrusions are on the rise, boats dropping waste, hooks snagging our young." They turned and vanished into the currents, leaving only swirling silt. Mira whirled on Sarah the moment they were gone. "Your sister sold us out." Sarah's face crumpled. "Lyra wouldn't." "She swore." "She did," Mira snapped. "That guard was her patrol partner. We have hours, maybe less, before they return with the Queen's enforcers." I emerged from hiding, legs shaky on the uneven coral floor. "Then we move. Now." Mira studied me, her sharp features softening for the first time. "Where?" "The city is locked down. The ascent vents are guarded." Sarah's eyes brightened with sudden hope. "The Forbidden Archives. No one goes there anymore. Not since the Great Schism." Mira hesitated, then nodded. "It's risky. But it's our only chance." We fled the grotto through a narrow fissure, swimming, or in my case, being pulled through twisting tunnels lit by glowing anemones. Mira and Sarah took turns towing me, their tails powerful against the pressure. My lungs, sustained by whatever enchantment kept me breathing, ached from the effort. The phone, zipped in a waterproof pouch I'd improvised from kelp bladder, bounced against my chest. The archives lay in the ruins of an ancient palace, half-crumbled spires overgrown with barnacles and sorrow. Inside, shelves of pearl tablets and crystal orbs lined the walls, knowledge preserved from a time when mere folk walked the surface alongside humans. "Why forbidden?" I whispered as we settled behind the fallen column. Mira traced a carving of a mermaid embracing a human. "Long ago, our kinds coexisted. Trade, love, even children born with legs or tails. But greed poisoned it. Humans hunted our pearls for immortality. We retreated, sealed the depths. The Queen outlawed all records of the surface to prevent longing or war." Sarah pulled a small orb from a hidden alcove. It shimmered, projecting images into the water, cities of light above, markets where mere folk bartered pearls for iron tools, lovers meeting at riverbanks under moonlight. I stared, throat tight. Then why hide me? Why not show the Queen proof that not all humans are monsters? "Because fear rules now," Mira said bitterly. "Tolosa lost her mate to human harpoons. She believes isolation is mercy." Sarah met my eyes. "But you're different. You fell to us by accident, not conquest." We spent hours there, poring over forbidden knowledge. Sarah taught me fragments of their language, Mira showed me maps of hidden ascent points, natural chimneys where the river's pressure equalized, allowing passage to the surface. One was close, guarded only by currents, not soldiers. But the real discovery came when I, half-joking, asked about the pearls. The ones humans supposedly haunted. Myra's voice dropped. "Not just pretty stones. Heart pearls. Formed only in the deepest trenches, where volcanic vents meet cold water. They store energy, life force. One can heal mortal wounds. A cluster." She trailed off. "Can do what?" I pressed. Sarah finished quietly, "Grant wishes. Or so the old stories say. But harvesting them is forbidden. The trenches are sacred, guarded by the leviathans. My phone battery was down to 42%. I opened the camera, recording everything, the maps, the orbs, the carvings. Evidence. Proof. And maybe leverage. That night, as we rested, Sarah confessed. Lyra didn't betray us willingly. The queen forced her. Threatened our family. Myra's anger cracked, revealing pain. Tholosa's rule grows crueler each cycle. Young merfolk disappear for questioning the old ways. Resources dwindle, the river above is poisoned by human waste. We can't survive isolated forever. I felt the weight of their word on my shoulders. Then let's change it. Myra laughed, a sound like breaking glass. 3 fugitives against the kingdom. Not against, I said. 4. Show them I'm not a threat. That cooperation is possible. Sarah touched my hand. The heart pearls could prove it. If we brought one to the surface, showed humans their true power, not immortality, but healing, maybe trade could begin again. Fairly. Myra shook her head. Madness. The trenches are suicide. But I saw the spark in her eyes. Duty warring with hope. We made a plan. First, reach the ascent point. I'd return to the surface, gather proof of pollution affecting their food chains, photos, samples. Then return with evidence that isolation was killing them as surely as invasion. But to return, I needed something they couldn't give, time. And a way to breathe above without forgetting how to breathe below. That's when Myra revealed her secret. From a locked chest, she drew a vial of shimmering liquid. Moonbloom extract. Distilled from flowers that only open during surface eclipses. It lets a mare breathe air for 1 full cycle of the moon. But it's rare. I was saving it. For what? I asked gently. She looked away. To see the stars. Just once. Sarah's eyes filled. Take it, Julius. Come back to us. I drank it. Bitter, like regret and possibility mixed. We set out at dawn's glow, whatever passed for dawn here. The journey to the ascent was brutal. Currents fought us, shadows of massive creatures circled. At one point, a patrol spotted us. Myra fought them off alone, buying us time, taking a spear graze across her arm. Go, she shouted as Sarah pulled me onward. We reached the chimney, a vertical shaft spiraling upward, pressure decreasing with each meter. My ears popped painfully. At the mouth, Sarah held me tight. Promise you'll return. I promise. She kissed me then, salt and sweetness, a memory I'd carry forever. Then pushed me into the upward rush. The ascent was agony. Body compressing, then expanding. Lungs burning as water gave way to air. I broke the surface at twilight, gasping real oxygen under a sky painted with stars. The riverbank was familiar, my boat wreckage downstream, untouched. Days had passed above, but weeks below, time flowing differently in the depths. I stumbled home, clothes tattered, story ready, rescued by currents, amnesia from the crash. People bought it. Mostly. But I was different now. The moonbloom coursed through me, letting me hold my breath far longer than any human should. And in my pocket, wrapped carefully, was something I'd taken from the archives, a single, tiny heart pearl. Not stolen. Gifted by Myra in secret, pressed into my hand with a whispered, for proof. And for you. That pearl changed everything. I started small. Sold it anonymously through a contact in the city, a collector who understood rarity. The money came fast. Enough to pay debts, buy a new boat. Then another pearl, found in the riverbed. Rumors spread, Julius struck some hidden vein. But I invested wisely. Cleaned sections of the river. Funded research into pollution. Built a foundation for river conservation. People whispered, Where does his wealth come from? Overnight fortune. Secret mine. I smiled and said nothing. At night, I dove deeper than any human could, thanks to lingering moonbloom effects, and met them. Mira and Sarah, waiting in the shadows. We began the real work. Smuggling knowledge both ways. Teaching merfolk about sustainable human tech. Showing humans the cost of poisoning the waters. But danger loomed. The queen grew suspicious. Lyra vanished. And above, greedy eyes turned to the river, searching for my source. I knew the final confrontation approached. One that would force choices, between worlds, between loves, between survival and sacrifice. The pearl in my pocket pulsed warmly, as if alive. Soon, everything would surface. Years have passed since I broke the surface that twilight evening, gasping under the stars with a single heart pearl burning warm in my pocket. The river still flows the same way, wide and ancient, carrying secrets downstream. But I am not the same Julius who once pushed a battered boat into its currents every dawn, chasing fish to outrun loneliness and death. The money came quietly at first. One pearl, sold through trusted channels in the city, became enough to clear what I owed. The second bought a new boat, stronger, cleaner. The third let me purchase the stretch of land I'd always eyed, high bank overlooking a quiet bend, thick with old trees and far from prying roads. People talked, of course. Fisherman turns overnight landowner. Whispers of hidden gold, lost treasure, lucky dives. I let them talk. The truth was deeper than they could ever guess. I built a house there, solid timber and stone, designed with my own hands and a few careful builders who asked no questions. It stands proud against the weather, windows facing the water, a wide deck where I drink coffee at sunrise just like before. But beneath it, hidden from every eye, runs a channel. A narrow, crystal-clear tunnel carved into the bedrock, fed by an underground spring that connects straight to the river's hidden veins. Moonbloom vines, smuggled up in sealed jars, grow along its walls, keeping the water enchanted, breathable. It is my bridge, my promise kept. Mira and Sarah come often. They rise through the channel at dusk, silent as shadows, tails flicking off droplets as they surface in the sheltered pool beneath the house. Mira still carries the weight of duty in her eyes, scouting the depths for signs of unrest, bringing news of the slow changes we started together. The queen's grip loosened the day I returned, not as invader, but as witness. With photos from my phone, samples of poison water, and a cluster of heart pearls offered as gift, not theft, I showed the council what isolation truly cost. Young merfolk were starving while the river above choked on human waste. Trade began again, cautious and guarded, healing pearls for clean filtration systems, knowledge for protection. Tolosa still rules, but her rule is tempered now. Mira serves as liaison, proud and exhausted, forever the guardian. Sarah is different. From the first moment she pushed me toward the ascent, something shifted between us. Visits grew longer. Conversations stretched into nights. She learned to walk on legs coaxed by moonbloom drafts, tentative steps across my deck under starlight. I learned the songs of our people, the taste of fruits that only grow in volcanic vents. Love arrived without announcement, steady as the tide. One spring evening, she surfaced carrying a bundle wrapped in silver kelp. Our daughter, Lyrian. Born in the depths but gifted with legs like her father, lungs that breathe both worlds. Her eyes shimmer like Sarah's, deep ocean green flecked with gold, and her laugh echoes across the water when she splashes in the hidden pool. She is the living bridge, proof that the old divisions can end. Above the surface, I became someone else entirely. The foundation I started grew, river cleanups, protected zones, education programs teaching children to respect the water instead of fearing or exploiting it. More pearls came up, always carefully, never greedily. Wealth followed, quiet and purposeful. Mansions were offered, I refused. My house by the river is enough, large, comfortable, alive with family. People still wonder where the money flows from. I smile and credit hard work, wise investments, a little luck. The truth stays beneath the floorboards, in the channel where two worlds meet. Some evenings I dive alone, deeper than any human should, to the outer edges of Akulan. The city has changed, lights brighter, gardens healthier, young merfolk studying surface books I bring down. Mira greets me with a warrior's nod. Sarah with a kiss. Lyrian clings to my neck, demanding stories of the sky. I tell them all the same thing, the lesson carved into me by the accident that should have ended everything. Tragedy can be the beginning if you choose to rise from it differently. The river tried to take my life once. Instead, it gave me two. I still fish sometimes, early mornings when the mist hangs low. But now I release more than I keep, and the river feels like an old friend who forgave me for not knowing its depth sooner. The channel beneath my house stays open, moonbloom blooming eternal. Mira and Sarah will come tonight, as they always do. Lyrian will run barefoot across the deck, calling for her father. And I will stand at the rail, watching the current carry moonlight downstream, forever changed by the day I sank and learned how to rise. The accidents that changed my life did not end with the crash against the rock. They began there. And every day since, I choose gratitude over fear, connection over isolation, stewardship over conquest. The river keeps its secrets. I keep mine. And between us flows something stronger than before, understanding. Life's deepest moments often start with falling. What matters is what you build when you surface again.